So, the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ebe Kachiku, now says the NNPC will have to do whatever it takes to get this petrol scarcity eliminated in Abuja before Sunday. That's 72 hours from now. We have Channels Television there, and we'll be covering how this will be removed before our international visitors get here and see our underbelly. Meantime, Nigerian Stock Exchange will next week Thursday present a corporate governance awards to successful listed companies and their directors. That will be on February the 22nd. Meantime, we're looking at the early birds for the fourth quarter and full year 2017 earnings, and we got one overnight yesterday. That's the earnings will be on tap from Monday. But yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, Nigerian Breweries, the largest brewing company, reported earnings that we have. The first reaction as we speak now from FBN Quest. Nigerian Breweries reported gross margins down 87 basis points year on year to 41%. And expects a downward revision to consensus of Nigerian Breweries 2018 profit before tax, and the forecast will likely, on a full-year basis, Nigerian Breweries reported sales up 10% year-on-year to 344.6 billion, but compared with forecast at FBN Quest, sales, profit before tax, and after tax missed estimates by 10%, 23%, and 19%, respectively. In fact, the profit before tax came significantly below consensus. That's Nigerian Breweries' forecast of 52 billion. A profit before tax came significantly below consensus. And that's the story. Meanwhile, Nigerian Breweries is proposing a final dividend of 3 naira 13 kobo per share, in line with estimates of 3 naira 8 kobo at FBN Quest. That's just coming in very hot this morning, and we think we should just have that. If you invest in the market, Nigerian Breweries is declaring per share cash dividend 3 naira 13 kobo for 2017, despite those significant decline in Nigerian Breweries' profit before tax for the fourth quarter of 2017. Some other things are also in there. Well, let's move on very quickly. As we step into the new month, Lagos State, Nigeria's economic and financial epicenter, of course, the home to a number of headquarters of companies in Nigeria, plans a roundtable meeting with the executives of corporate Lagos, and that should be taking place as we get the month of March started. That will be on the 3rd, if you look at your calendar. Very quickly, just about 3-4 minutes to look at the markets yesterday, Thursday, and I was out of town, and I didn't know whether the market comeback had anything to do with Valentine. We were going to look at the Valentine's trading week towards the end of the program. We have some questions for someone who will be taking some questions about what made the market come back. Of course, globally, equities markets made a comeback, but where the market here is also tiptoeing back into the positive territory and this correction to the downside, and we're asking whether that is already out. So 17.4 million US dollars in total transaction. Dollar terms on Thursday was quite good for the Nigerian market, 6.27 billion. The all-share index, which we call the composite, was up a little over 1%, and you see that there. We're still below 43 and 44,000 and 45 when the market was red hot between the final weeks of December and the first few weeks of January. The same for the equity capitalization there at 15.289 trillion. Flip that over, almost 6,000 transactions on Thursday, and I think we're done with that. In terms of volume, that was very significant. The figure you see, the 615.17 million, was about almost 20% over Wednesday's figure. Take that to the 5 main subsectors of the market. Banks rallied 1.31% because there was a very strong buying in GT Bank. 3.9 million shares of GT Bank shares were bought on Thursday. Zenith Bank, $2.4 million. Access Bank, $2.1 million. And First Bank, or what they call the FBNH, 1.3 million US dollars. The shares of First Bank went up 8.23%. The market yesterday, Thursday, and we've got ARM Securities this morning released a very short 3-paragraph statement talking about FBNH, and said this is a strong, a tier 1 financial services company Now, this is what the guys at ARM is saying about First Bank. It says they're estimating the full year 2017 earnings per share at 1 naira 72 kobo against the 9-month 2017 of 1 naira 28, and the full year 2018 earnings per share at 3 naira 18 kobo. That implies 260% for 2017 and 85% growth in earnings per share for First Bank in full year 2017. The rest of that you can find. Look at the consumer goods, 0.83%, and the news from the healthcare space yesterday, GlaxoSmithKline got about $2 million of its shares traded. We're looking at this healthcare company, who is actually buying this massive shares in that particular listed company. And then you have the industrial goods, almost 1% in the green, thanks to the bellwethers, including Dangote Cement. Then you have the insurance in the red, and oil and gas just almost a neuter 0.01%. Look at the oil and gas stocks as they paced out. Largely unchanged. We're just going to run through this very quickly for you. Just run through them. Largely unchanged. Volume was very, very little across the listed oil and gas retailers, and some of them who are integrated energy companies such as Forte Oil and Owando, sitting there by those numbers. And if you look at the far right under the volume, you find that it was a very lackluster Thursday for the listed oil and gas. But you find Japol, which is a maritime company with a strong volume. That's about 1.030 million ordinary shares. That's quite, someone just sold off a little bit of that, cut his losses and moved on. Negative 2.70% for Japol, whose share price is now below the previous power value of 50 kobo, now trading at 36 kobo per share. Capital Oil, you can see the rest there for you. Let's take that break. When we come back, we have a lot to talk about. Nigeria's latest Eurobond, $2.5 billion US.